Do we have too much government?
We need to put people ahead of corporate profits.
This system is so lopsided. This threat is a real threat to democracy.
And I think that's really important. That's something we haven't been doing in this country for a long time.
Where do you start? What do you do? How do you do it?
Access to Democracy is sponsored by Thomson Reuters, providing legal professionals with the intelligence, technology, and human expertise they need to find trusted answers. Products include Westlaw, Practical Law, and Firm Central legal practice management software for small law firms. Thomson Reuters, the answer company. Online at thomsonreuters.com. Access to Democracy is made possible in part by a donation from Firefly Credit Union. Firefly is the new name of U.S. Federal Credit Union, which has proudly served the financial needs of the Greater Twin Cities community since 1925. At Firefly, we guide our members forward and give them the power to chase dreams by delivering the financial solutions they need to get ahead. From checking accounts to mortgages, we'll light the way. We are Firefly Credit Union, and this is Life Illuminated. And Dr. Charles Crutchfield of award-winning Crutchfield Dermatology in Eagan, acknowledged as one of the nation's best physicians. A Minnesota native who trained at the Mayo Clinic, Dr. Crutchfield personally treats all patients and states that experience counts and quality matters. Crutchfield Dermatology. Look good, feel great, with beautiful skin.
Welcome to Access to Democracy. We have a first-time guest with us. I'm your host, Alan Miller, and our first-time guest is Brisket, the Wonder Dog. Brisket, say hello to everybody.
She says hi.
You have to listen. And she is here with a couple of folks who actually are responsible for her being here.
Exactly.
Sheila and Keith Hittner.
Thank you.
Who are local entrepreneurs, among other things, and also who sponsor and take this wonderful therapy dog around to locations. And I met the Hittners about a month or so ago. Unfortunately, we had a spot available for today at 3 o'clock for this interview when Sharon was unfortunately in the hospital for a few days. About 6 weeks ago.
About that.
And in the Hittners walked with Brisket.
In the pink carriage.
In the pink carriage, yeah. And we met and we talked, and I thought, we have never had a therapy dog, a wonder dog, on the show before. So we asked, really, Brisket, if she could come on, and she agreed for the sake of a dog biscuit, and and here we are. So, Keith and Sheila, how did you get into the therapy dog business? We'll talk about your other businesses. But
Okay. About 15 years ago, we have 3 dogs, and about 15 years ago, I wanted to do the therapy dog with one of them, but time, where we were at in our businesses and that, we just didn't have the time for it. And so we knew we were going to get a 3rd dog, and we wanted to do the therapy dog work with a dog. And I had met a client in real estate about 15 years ago that had a therapy dog, and so that was the first introduction that I had to a therapy dog, and I thought I want to do that someday. And so we knew we wanted to do with her, so we sought out a AKC Tibetan Spaniel breeder, and she's in Texas. And we flew to Texas to get Brisket, and the breeder there knew what we wanted to do with her, and so she picked her out for us.
I think Brisket wants a drink.
Yes,
you don't mind her drinking
she might.
out of your cup?
Would you like a little drink, honey? Are you thirsty?
No, she's going to ignore you now.
There you go. Good
Brisket
job.
is drinking,
Good
yes.
job. Good job.
So you won't be hoarse when she answers
No.
questions.
Right, exactly.
Okay. Now, actually, the Hittners have been in the Twin Cities and the Eagan area for a long time.
Very long time.
And Keith, you were in the real estate business?
We are in the real estate business. We own, or one of the owners of Rack Shack Barbecue. We own that in conjunction with our son and our son-in-law. We have a radio show that we've been doing for 8 years, a weekly real estate radio show.
On
And
what channel?
It's on 1280 The Patriot, probably the other end of the dial from this show.
Well, I do 950.
Okay.
Oh, so there you go.
AM
There you go.
950. So
Point and counterpoint, two old bearded white guys sitting on the opposite end
There
of
you
the
go.
table here.
Yep.
But we have a different, our worldview says that we should give back to the community. And we've been very blessed in our businesses, very successful. And because we're in the real estate business, the time is our product, right? Our expertise and our time, and the most valuable thing that we can give then, in addition to money and contributions and those types of things. But, you know, that's a detached thing. Write a check and walk away and pat yourself on the back. But when you give your time and push the cart down the hall and walk into the room, that's quite different.
And real estate has been a very rewarding business of late. And went through some really hard times.
And
but,
we've been through those hard times, right,
yep.
with 33 years
Yep.
and 22 years. Yeah.
We all have. And so the Hittner Group is located where? The
We
office?
operate out of Colo Banker Burnett, out of the Apple Valley office. We have 18 members of our team, and we cover the entire metropolitan area in terms of residential real estate.
We might as well get that plug in while we can. Absolutely.
612-627-8000 if you're interested.
612-627-8000.
627-8000.
There you go.
If you're in the real estate market.
Yes.
Right.
And we've had 2 houses in our cul-de-sac, which is very unusual because it was just very steady for 20 years. Went on the market recently. One sold in about 2 weeks, and one sold in at the first showing.
Yeah.
1 week. So
Very active market depending on the price range.
Yep. So back to Brisket, right?
Yep.
Yep. So I trained her for a year, and we had to have puppy class, obedience 1, obedience 2, and then a therapy class. And I thought when I was done training her that I would be able to just take her to a kids hospice. So God was telling me I should take her to kids hospice, and in searching for that, we don't have one. The kids either die at the hospital or go home to die. And so 3 years ago when we met Crescent Cove, we thought this is a perfect fit. They're fundraising to build the first kids hospice home here in Minnesota, and there's one in Arizona.
That's Crescent Cove,
Yep.
which will shortly be opening
In November, yep.
as a hospice for children. I mean,
Correct.
some of the things we don't like to talk about.
A lot,
is the
yes.
fact children who are terminal and children die, unfortunately.
Right.
It's but at least it gives them a surrounding that is more comfortable, more like home.
More like home, yep.
And to make their final days as pleasant as possible.
Right.
And as important as that, it's the respite for the family. Because when a family has a child in that circumstance, it's like all the attention that they can muster, all of the resources that they can muster are focused on that child. Well, the other kids then, if there are other kids, and many times there are, they kind of are left out in the wings. And by having the child in the hospice, it gives the family a time to recuperate and solidify as well.
And the other children actually, when they are left out in the wings, as you described it, can develop hostility
Yes, they can.
Yes.
to a dying sibling,
Right.
which is just what we don't want.
Exactly.
Right.
And so it really is very good that Crescent Cove will be opening in November here. Now, how do you train this doggie?
Very good trainers. She was a puppy. She was 10 weeks when we got her.
She's 4 years old
and
now?
she's 4 years old now. She's
A
been
Tibetan Spaniel.
Tibetan Spaniel, yep. She's been working since she was 1. You have to be 1 as a dog to be able to go out and do therapy work and have
Which is really
insurance.
7. But,
Yes, right, exactly. She's insured for $1 million through her Therapy Dogs International, and so we have to, you know, provide all the updated, you know, records and that kind of thing every year.
They have to check you out very
Yes,
thoroughly
yes,
also. You
yes,
have to
they-
go, I mean, we have a rescue Springer, and English Springer does a really thorough job, to the point that they check with the vet, they check with our neighbors, and really, you know, you feel like it's an FBI
Yes, right.
interview, and I know it's even more involved for rescue dogs.
So then the training itself are really with a therapy dog. Their temperament is so important, of course, because they
That's
have to be
number
a
one.
calm and,
Yep.
and a loving animal to start with. But then they're trained to essentially leave things alone. So if we were to put a piece of meat
Chicken.
on that counter or chicken on that counter, she would not touch it until she was given the okay to go ahead and have that. And that's for her safety and for the safety of the person that we're visiting.
Right.
Because you don't want an animal lunging at a hot dog or a piece of bread or a leftover breakfast item.
Right, and a lot of times.
Unless you're
the-
going to have lunch together.
Yes,
But that's a whole
right,
different
That's
story.
a whole
right,
different
right.
story.
I couldn't resist that.
Yes, exactly. You know, and with some of the senior facilities, there could be medications in the food, right? So that's the other, you know, reason for not, you know, obviously having her lunge for the food. She this is her work collar, and so she can only have this little tag that says I'm a therapy dog, so she doesn't have all of her metal tags on. It could cut your skin
Right.
during a visit or something like that. And so she knows when we pull this collar out that it's time to work, and so she knows that she can't speak. So she will not bark when she's working. Now, if she hears something
that's
or
terrific.
sees something like at the hospital, you know, those alarms go off and the doors open and shut, and she can react to it, but she can't attack it. So if she hears a noise, she can react and then come back, but she can't bark or anything.
I think she's flirting with Ray.
Are
on the
you
camera
flirting?
there.
You might be flirting with him back there. She's keeping an eye out.
So Sheila has had her Brisket in all different environments. From the old folks home, a Courage Center was one.
Courage Center, we did some brain trauma young adult programs, which was an agility course set up. And so the brain trauma young adult kids would be standing with her and with me, and they would have to direct her to go through the tire and through the tunnel. And for them, if the dog didn't do it, then with the brain trauma, they had to figure out how to deal with that situation when something happened that was out of their control. And so we've done brain trauma, Courage Center, hospitals, schools, senior homes.
Yeah, I'm going to run through the whole
Okay,
list of
okay.
those things. I just wanted to mention also, you mentioned you also have the Rack Shack on Cliff down
the
near
Rack Shack
13.
Barbecue, yep.
Right. And that's with your son and son-in-law?
Correct.
Yep, and that's where Brisket got her name. We've always had real estate dog names, and I wanted Duplex, but I lost out to Brisket. So my first girl dog had to be after a piece of meat,
Now,
but that's okay, girl.
There are two other dogs at home.
Two other dogs, Steel and Stone.
How does she get along with that? What breeds are they? And
The same breed.
Same breed.
She's the boss of the house.
she is.
She
She's
is.
clearly the boss of the house, yes. She's the only girl. It's like any household. The woman runs the house.
We know that.
Right? She's in charge. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, with the real estate business, and well, you don't spend a lot of time at the barbecue.
No,
because you have
I don't.
Sheila doesn't. I'm there every day.
Are you?
I'm there every day. I check in with them. I was there an hour ago, and we're actually, our lease is up on our Burnsville location. We're pretty excited about it because we're moving to Egan, just 1 mile east into Egan, still on Cliff Road, in the old Von Hansen's food next to Cole's Salon, and right across from Doolittle's and in that area,
Oh.
which is really building up. They're putting a lot of money in those
Welcome.
buildings there, so we're very excited about that.
Yeah.
We'll be there early in 2000.
And you've got to get the money, because he's still...
Wallstat just did a tremendous
Yes,
revision
yes.
of their
Yes, they
automotive.
did.
Yes. So, yeah, we're very excited about that.
Yeah. And well, that's good.
get the
Well, you might see me later today.
There you
I don't think we have dinner plans, but in
You'll want to
any
get the
event,
brisket.
Yeah. I love brisket. It's not in my diet anymore, but
Yeah.
I absolutely love it. And so you're there every day, but
He's there to pick up
part
some
of
money.
every week is therapy dog time.
Yes, yes.
So let's go through your schedule.
So
Like you walked into the hospital.
Yep, yep. We go to Burnsville Ridges Hospital 3 times a month. So we have our scheduled Mondays, and we like to do it in the morning for a couple of hours, just because it works well with our real estate schedule. And then I do a school, elementary school in Farmington, and so they want me to do once a week this year. Last year I did once every other week, and so with that they take the kids that are having trouble reading out of the classroom, bring them into a small room, and it's usually 2 or 3 kids, not any
No,
more than
I've
that.
read a couple of articles that the presence of the dog really helps the kids acclimate to
Reading.
scholastic and reading
Yep.
much
so
better.
after 6 times, the studies have shown after 6 times that a child reads to a dog, they are more confident, they want to read more, their reading skills are better, and so they come into that room with just 2 people, and then she sits on their lap, and then they read to her. Yep.
Yeah, Sharon does the same thing with me, and it seems to be pretty. It
Seems to work. She can read pretty well.
It's
Now this year we're going to have some fun because we're going to be able to go through and read Brisket's book.
okay. Let's show the books.
Okay,
while we're
so
at it.
with the Crescent Cove, 3 years ago when we found them, I thought, oh, when they open a facility, I'll write a children's book about her. We'll go visit, and then in March they told us they found an existing facility on Twin Lakes in Brooklyn Center, and so I thought, oh no, I said I would write that book. So I wrote it in March, found the illustrator at my church in April, and we had it done and printed June 15th on my birthday.
Did we get you a Toby book or not?
No,
I'll
no,
have
you
to
were
get
going
you-
to.
have
were
to
going
get you a Toby
yes.
book, yeah.
And so the reason why I wrote the book was to be able to give it to the children when we visit with her, go through the book, and then when the kids pass, then the parents would have the memories of the dog through the book that visited their child.
And the other book is a coloring book.
The other book is a companion coloring book. What I love about the set is, and we have a plush animal that's being manufactured right now that will come with it, that ships out in
A
November.
brisket?
A
Yes,
brisket,
yeah.
yeah. So then it'll be the threesome that will be available for Christmas and for us to donate. So what I like about the book is, first of all, on every page there's a feeling that is expressed on every page, and then a question about that feeling at the bottom. So it's very interactive with whoever is reading to the child, that it's more of a conversation going on, and it's amazing how kids will open up to these questions. And then the coloring book is exciting because it is a mirror of the book. It has the same illustrations in the book that they can color, and what's really great about it, especially when you're thinking of hospice, and these kids are going to pass, and now the child in hospice has colored in this book, the parents have read them this, and now they pass. What a treasure that this is going to become to the families once that kid has passed. They'll keep it forever, and that's just a very special thought to us. So, and then with the little plushed animal, they can cozy in with it and pass that along. That'll be in the family. for a
Everything
generation.
copyrighted, I hope.
Of course.
Yep.
Yep.
So the book's available, of course, on brisketcares.com. On the website, they can order it, and it's available on Amazon. And Sheila's going to be spending some Saturdays at Barnes & Noble.
Yeah, Barnes & Noble would like Brisket and I. They're every Saturday in Egan, but every Saturday doesn't work.
Well, this
So-
Saturday they happen to have an author who's been a guest on this show.
Oh, yeah.
Wonderful.
Marilyn Jacks,
Okay.
who writes sort of teen novels, I
Oh,
would say,
okay.
more than anything else. But
Yep.
Marilyn's going to be there Saturday, but she would make a big hit wherever she goes.
Yeah.
Yes, she is.
Even just
everybody-
walking in here, we walked in
Right,
to the
right.
back of the building by mistake, and there was a gal coming out, and of course I handed her a card and introduced Brisket, the world famous therapy dog, and so we chatted a little bit about what she was doing as Sheila was calling in here, trying to figure out how we were going to get in the building. And the gal told me then her daughter had died from cancer. and she was a young gal.
Yeah, she
so
was.
the child had to have been younger, and you know how important this is. Just a constant reminder. We pull into the parking lot, and her head has popped up, and people are smiling. We put her in her pink carriage and walk across the parking lot, and people are smiling.
Dogs are amazing that way.
Amazing
They
creatures.
are.
And as I told you when we met at the hospital, Fairview Ridges is one that will allow dogs in to see their
Your
relatives.
personal dog, yes,
Yeah.
in,
Yes.
in
Yeah.
to see you.
You know, not necessarily a Great Dane, but
Yeah.
you know, we have an English Springer, and it was a big surprise for Sharon,
Yes.
as well as for Katie, that she got to see her in the hospital.
Yeah.
And people really do appreciate it. You know, they're in the hospital, and many people have had dogs before in their life, and some of the older people that, you know, are in a facility now where they can't have their dog, they cherish the time that they get to spend holding her.
Dogs, we are learning more and more, are so special, and they have such talent. And I don't want to talk politics, but your favorite politician has never had a dog and doesn't like dogs. My favorite politician, surrounded by dogs.
By dogs. And we would have 50 of them if the city limit would allow it, but the city limit's 3.
Yeah.
So
They're-
that's what we get. We have 3.
They're just great animals.
Yep,
Yeah.
they are.
How do you get her certified?
You, like I said, you have to take the classes. Obedience 1 and Obedience 2 are required, and then the therapy dog class. The first week, I thought, there's no way we're even going to be able to do this. They had a gymnasium, and it was filled with food on the floor and toys that were making crazy noises and head spinning and dropping bedpans, and we were supposed to not react. She was not supposed to react, and we had to go through and walk by all those items and not go for those items. And it was amazing. The teachers knew. You know, the first class, they said to 2 people, your dog isn't ready, go back to Obedience 1, Obedience 2, and then come back. So they know, the trainers know. We go through the 8-week program, and then after that we have to take a test. And so I have test anxiety, so I was probably more nervous that day than...
Yeah, I understand you failed, but Brisket passed.
Passed, she failed.
Right, exactly, yep. And so then I waited for my letter, you know, and 3 months later, then I got my rejection letter. And she was shy of her first birthday by 1 day when we took the test. So she wasn't 1 year old.
That's how strict they are.
That's how strict they are. So then it's been 3 months. We haven't done the training, and now we had to take the test with the class of doggies that she hadn't been around. But of course, she passed it again, so she really passed it twice. Yeah.
Good for her.
And there is some ongoing training that is
Yes,
involved
we
with
do-
it too.
right,
The more she works, the better she is.
Yes.
Well, we went to the Egan Art Festival, and we had her in her carriage, and we were out there, and it was a miserable day because it was windy and
It
cold.
certainly was,
Yeah.
Very bad. But there were other people there with dogs, and we noticed that she was a little aggressive when other dogs would come up. Not people. She would never do anything with a person, but when other dogs came around. So we took her to the trainer, and the trainer explained to us that she's afraid. She's a small dog.
Yes.
And when she's in her stroller.
She's in her stroller, trapped, can't get out,
Right.
and she's afraid. So that's how she reacted. And so they coached us on how to mitigate that and how to step in and what to look for in her eyes. And now she's just fine. Yeah.
Now, you have different places that you go. For instance, with the hospitals, it could be children, it could be adults.
Right.
Right.
With the senior center, obviously, it's adults. Are there different ways that you or she react in these different locations? At Crescent Cove, it's going to be hospice-bound children
Correct.
who obviously are reaching the end of their life.
And she reacts in a certain way. We found when we go to the hospital, we figured it out that when she is in the hospital and she does things differently when people have had a surgery and she knows they're going to live, and she'll want to be petted and, you know, move around a little bit and want all the attention. But we found that if somebody is severely ill, she will get right next to him in bed and then just fold her head down. And when she does that, we look
I
at
saw
each
that
other.
in another room in the hospital where
Yeah,
she just
yep.
was lying next to the person.
Yep, and so, you know, with HIPAA, we can't find out, right, what each person's situation is. But we thought that was the case, that maybe those were the ones that were terminally ill. And then one day we visited a gentleman and he was in a chair, and then she did the same thing in the chair next to him, and then he told us he was terminally ill. So she acts differently depending on the health of the person.
Because they are so smart.
Because she- yes.
just
She can
incredible.
sense it. You know, just she can
What about
just sense it.
schools?
Schools, when she sits on the kids' laps, she really knows if you're a dog lover or not, and she knows how you feel about the comfort. Sometimes I have to put her in the position a couple of times to get her, this is how I want her to sit, and so sometimes I have to put her in that position a couple of times, and then she'll be fine with it. But she knows when you're not a dog lover.
Brisket, are you paying attention?
She's listening. She's listening.
She's
trust me.
listening.
Yeah.
She is.
She can
yes.
sense when someone is a little afraid of dogs. She can sense it. She loves kids.
She does
And I
love
think
kids.
that is probably, we have 14 grandkids. So I know that when the grandkids come over, she's crazy. I mean, she just loves to get at those kids. So that would probably, from a behavioral standpoint, would be the most difficult thing for her, because she's so excited to see children.
Yeah.
And with adults, you know, we're all kind of the same, and we don't jump around a lot.
How did you discover that pink is her favorite color?
You know, a child had asked me that because we have a little business card, and on the back it says
Well, I'm in my second childhood, so
it says that her favorite color is pink. And so one of the kids at the school said to me, how do you know that her favorite color is pink? And I said, I held up something blue and I held up something pink, and she barked and went for the pink item. And Mommy drives a pink car. So that's another reason why her favorite color is pink. And she rolls around in a pink stroller. So she gets to wear a little pink bow.
well, it's really been fun to share this with you and Brisket, who obviously is bored by me.
No.
But
She's comfortable.
let's give a couple of heads up. The Hittner Group, which is a real estate, local real estate outfit, Apple Valley, and the Rack Shack, which sounds like a good option for dinner. Are you going there from here?
I might.
You might.
I might,
you might,
because Sheila
'cause-
has another appointment out in Stillwater, so I
Tonight,
might find
yep.
myself there.
So I might just do that.
And then brisketcares.com, of course, is her website, and that's where you can get the book and the coloring book. We do have her schedule of events as far as where we're going to be on there as well. So we've got
And in
the Barnes & Noble
in
coming
time
up.
for Christmas, we will have
the stuffed animal.
The stuffed animal.
So we've got Barnes & Noble coming up. We've got a hospital in Woodbury that we're going to be at. We've got the first weekend of December is Burnsville Center, and Peace Church has a sale every year, so she'll actually be able to be at Peace Church for that.
Can we end with a close-up on Brisket, who is
Come on, Dave.
looks like she could care less. But we've been talking with Keith and Sheila Hittner, and Brisket the Wonder Dog. It's been a pleasure. And
Isn't she cute?
let's follow this in the future.
Thank
Thanks so
you.
much for coming in.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Who did a